Hey guys, we're back for the second part in this DIY SIPs container series. So last time I discussed the design and the inspiration behind this build, and this time we're going to go ahead and start putting it all together. So previously I showed you the containers I'm going to use. So the chamber for the water reservoir is going to be the 6-inch pot, and the part that's going to hold the medium is going to be the 6-inch net cup. Yeah, so there will be a good 30-35% of the height for the water reservoir. So what is that, about 2.5 inches or so, if we use the full height. So now we got to think about how we're going to seal these holes up. So I've actually done something similar to this when I made those micro ponds I have out in the garden and the greenhouse that are just large old pots that I sealed up the holes with and made into like really small ponds. And there I used some silicone, and you can see it does say safe for incidental food contact, so it's kind of, safe. But and the way I did that was I wrapped some tape around the hole and went in from the inside and filled that in, so the tape was acting as the backing, and I just filled that in with the silicone. But I have an idea of how to possibly do it more, well, kind of more simple. It's going to be a bit more fiddly work, I think, but I think it should come out a bit better. And that is going to be using a technique called plastic welding. So if you're not familiar with this, it's just like what it sounds like. You use an old soldering iron, one, I don't know, maybe you can buy secondhand or something, just get the cheapest one and commit it to plastic work. That's what I do. I would never use the one I used for metal soldering on this, because it'll basically ruin it. Or you can restore the tip back with flux and by cleaning it and stuff, but it's better just to have a committed one. And basically all you do there is you melt the plastic of the part you're joining it with the part you're putting it. So we'll have a piece of plastic here as a patch, and we'll just come in and kind of melt them or weld them back together. And I've used that before to repair some cracks in plastic. That actually works really well, and some other stuff, so we'll give it a shot here. What I'm trying to decide now is whether I should cut it here and reattach the bottom, like basically remove these strips here. So remove this, that, so on, and then have the bottom reattached. That would kind of lose about 3/4 of an inch of height. Or we can have a sacrificial pot that we use just for material and cut out little rectangles to fit in here and weld them on. That would save this height. Maybe I'll just try both just to see what it's like. If you're using a different pot or a different spare piece of plastic to do this, just make sure they're compatible and you'll instantly be able to tell if they stick or not. Alright, so I'm just going to show you how I would cover up these holes with some spare piece of plastic. I got this old square pot here that I just cut some out. And I just cut a piece to size to cover that hole. So I'm just going to show you just me doing a little bit of this first one. I'm going to go outside to do the rest of it because it's going to make a lot of smoke and fumes, so you definitely don't want to do this inside. You need a well ventilated area. So I got my soldering iron that I use for plastic. It's an old crappy one. So it's going to be a bit difficult for you guys to see in. So basically what I'm going to do is Just apply some heat and then back off, apply heat, back off, and just kind of watch for it as it melts. What you want to do is, at least at the end, have some of the plastic of the pot and the plastic of the patch piece be melted together and fuse into one piece. So again, different plastics kind of behave differently. So I'm just going to tack it on first. Just melt a couple lines or something along the edge here, like that. Okay, so that's holding on there on its own. So I'm basically using the flat part of the tip of this soldering iron, and this isn't really an ideal tip for this. You'd want a shovel tip, it would be a lot easier actually. And so I'm going to use that flat bit and to kind of smooth out that edge. Again, you kind of want to do it in steps. So you see that? It's kind of formed into a solid piece. You can also kind of do little circle motions to smooth it out. It's not going to look cosmetically perfect, but it's not actually difficult to make this watertight, which is obviously what it'll have to be. Okay, so you can see when it's shiny like that, it's still liquid, and then it'll go kind of a dull color. Can you see that line moving in? And that's pretty much good for that side. So we're going to go around the edges here, and then over here you can see these cutouts are a bit recessed, so there's a bit of the bottom missing. So I got this little extra bit here to fold over, and so we'll just be able to do that no problem. Alright, so here it is with the first pass, and I'm sure there will be some leaks that we'll have to patch up, but that's not an issue. Even some of these parts where there was a crack, I just used a piece of plastic to kind of patch it up and to smooth it in. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and test this. So I'm just going to put this into this secondary container here. Alright, so I'm just going to pour in some water, making sure that it covers the seams so that we can really test it. That should do it. And it'd be better if we didn't spill any, because I want to keep it dry. So we can check for any drops that might be coming out. Looking good so far. Underneath. And did I really get it from the first shot? That's pretty incredible. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is just set up a paper towel and put this down and just leave this for a little while, just to be sure that there's no really small pinpoint cracks. Yeah, if they are, then it'll obviously drop down on the paper towel, or if it's underneath, we'll be able to see an imprint of it. What I would do if there were leaks is I would just mark it with a Sharpie and go back with the soldering iron and patch it up. Shouldn't be too difficult, especially if I was able to do it from the first shot. Alright, it's been about 30 minutes and you can see the paper towel is bone dry, so no leaks. So that's great. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this part. In the next part in the series, we're going to go ahead and add a feed through for the air stone that's going to be sitting inside of there and wrap it all up. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on growing.